Hi everyone, today I'm going to do a review of the ReMarkable 2 and specifically discuss why I'm returning this device and I'm going to buy an iPad Air. Now for those of you who've watched some of my videos, you'll notice this video is a little bit different. However, I really wanted to do it because when I was buying this device, I couldn't find anyone online who bought it for a specific purpose and who used it on a day-to-day basis and who could discuss both the pros and cons of the device. So to give you a little bit of a context, I'm a PhD student and I bought this device to take notes on journal articles, lectures and books, and then to be able to upload them to my computer in a format that would make it easy to insert relevant information into a literature review, a thesis chapter, or anything else that I might be writing. So let's hop into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the design of the product. It is a very attractive product and it's definitely going to get looks from other people. The size is great. It's about the same size as my regular paper-based notebook, and so it's going to fit in all the places where that notebook fits. So my backpack and also several of my handbags. It's also very light. It's heavier than my paper-based notebook, but it is ever so slightly lighter than an iPad Air, so it's really transportable. One of the main detriments of the size of the ReMarkable is that this screen is really all you get. So if you're like me and you like to plan your week across 2 days, that's going to be absolutely impossible to do on the ReMarkable because you can only see one page at a time. And you might think, well, isn't that going to be exactly the same with the iPad Air because you can only see one page there at a time too? That's somewhat true, but the difference between the two is that in an iPad Air and in the note-taking apps that you can get on an iPad Air, you can zoom the screen in and out. So you could zoom in and write whatever you need in the Sunday column, and then you could zoom out to see your entire week, whereas on the ReMarkable, you can't zoom in and out on the screen. You would be able to get around it by writing text and then shrinking it and fitting it into the Sunday column, but that's just not very intuitive. So a major detriment, which I just noticed immediately and I didn't like, was that the size is very restrictive on the ReMarkable and you can only see one page at a time. When you purchase your ReMarkable, you're able to choose between a number of cases to protect it. Now, I chose the folio case because I thought that this was going to offer greater protection, but I was very mistaken in that view. Now, it does a really good job of protecting the screen, so you've got no problem there. However, if you look to the bottom or the top of the ReMarkable, and you touch that area, you'll actually find that the first thing your finger comes in contact with is the ReMarkable itself rather than the folio cover. Now, what that means is that if I drop this and it hits the ground, the first thing that the ground is going to hit is going to be the ReMarkable itself rather than the folio cover. So if it hits the top or the bottom, your ReMarkable itself is going to be damaged. The other thing I find quite frustrating about the folio cover is that the pen is magnetically adhered to the side of the ReMarkable, but the folio does absolutely nothing to hold it in place. And I know that this magnetic attachment is supposed to be quite strong, but there is not a day that I have traveled with this where the pen hasn't ended up at the bottom of my bag. This magnetic attachment is not strong enough to put this device all together in a bag. If I wanted to protect the ReMarkable, I could do a better job by buying a pencil case at Officeworks and just throwing the ReMarkable in there. One of the most frustrating features I've found in writing with the ReMarkable is to do with, I think, my left-handedness. Now, I know that right-handers generally write from below the text, and I know that a lot of left-handers also write from below the text. However, I also know that many left-handers, like myself, write above the text. Now, the reason why this is so frustrating on the ReMarkable is if I set this to be left-handed and then I start writing over the top, you can see that for some reason it has now exited that sheet. The reason why it exits is because there is an X in the top left-hand corner of the screen. So anytime I start to write as a left-hander that holds their hand above the text, I'm going to click on that X to exit the screen. Now, there is the option to change the handedness, so I changed it to be a right-hander. But then I have the same problem with the menu, which then moves to the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side. So I have found that quite frustrating. I think that they could fix that quite easily by giving a lot of options for where that X and where the menu should be. They just haven't done it, and that's not currently an option. One of the other things I found quite frustrating is that there is no indication where the menu starts or ends. And so you can very easily write into the menu without actually seeing what you're writing, and then only see what you've written after you remove the menu itself. The other thing I would say is that if I was going to buy this again, I think I would get the upgraded pencil. The upgraded pencil has an eraser on the other end. And when I've been writing, the thing that I instinctively do when I'm trying to erase something is to turn the pen around and try and erase it. If you don't have that pencil, you have to open up the menu, because I can't keep it open because there's an X in the corner. You have to click on the eraser, sometimes double click, and then choose the eraser that you want to get rid of that stuff. That's a lot of clicks to erase something. Would be nice if you could cross something out and then it automatically gets rid of it. That's what some of the apps in iPad do. So that's a bit irritating. One of my main concerns when I bought the ReMarkable was its lack of colour. But what I found in using it is that I actually didn't need colour that much. I mostly write in black, and the only time I really need a difference in colour is when I'm drawing a diagram, mostly distinguishing between arteries and veins on an anatomical diagram. But what I found is that the ReMarkable offers black, grey and white as colours, and the black and the grey are actually different enough that I would be able to distinguish them in that type of diagram. If you need a lot of colours though, I'd definitely be going for the iPad Air, because this is just not going to be the device for you. Another thing about the colour on the ReMarkable is that if you select the highlighter tool, you can highlight your notes in black and white on the actual device, but then when you upload that page onto the ReMarkable app on your computer, that highlighting is actually going to come up as yellow, which is quite useful and I think really will make it stand out more on your computer for you to refer back to later. Another thing that frustrates me about the ReMarkable is that I use the same template for my week planning every single week. And the ReMarkable doesn't really allow you the option to make custom templates. What I'd really like to be able to do is to draw a template on here and be able to save it and use it over and over again, but it doesn't allow me to do that. I'm sure there's ways around that, like I could draw it and I could copy the page over and over again. And I'm sure that I could also make a PDF of my template and copy that over to the ReMarkable to use week on week. But it would expect that you would be able to use the template functionality to store your custom templates. And I'm surprised that they haven't done that. Moving on to the writing experience now, the ReMarkable has the best writing experience I've felt with any electronic device. It really feels as close to paper as I think an electronic device can get. In comparison, the iPad really has quite a plasticky feel. I haven't tried the iPad with, I think it's called a Paperlight. And I believe that the iPad also has some nibs that you can put on the Apple Pencil that changes the feel of the writing. but the writing experience really isn't comparable. The ReMarkable just wins hands down. One of the things I found frustrating when comparing the ReMarkable to a notebook, for example, is that sometimes when I scroll between pages, it takes a couple of goes before it actually scrolls easily between pages. Now, I know that the previous ReMarkable had buttons to move between pages, and I think that would have been preferable to an inaccurate scrolling feature, because that's quite frustrating. When you want to turn a page, you just really want to turn a page. So the next thing I want to talk about is the computer integration. I think the ReMarkable does a really good job of computer integration. So what happens is anything I write, as long as the ReMarkable is connected to the internet, it will upload to the cloud. And then when I turn on my computer, it will sync onto the ReMarkable app. Then if I want to, I can select multiple notebooks at the same time, and I can export all of them as a PDF onto my computer. One of the things I don't like about the computer integration is the application. It's fine, it just looks a little bit clunky, and that's probably down to personal taste. And I know what they're trying to do, and that they're trying to make it look like the application on the ReMarkable, and in that they've achieved that very well. It's easy to navigate. It just looks a little bit clunky to me. I'd like it to look more sleek. The other thing that I noticed when I downloaded my notes from ReMarkable is that when they are converted to PDF or just really onto the computer application, they look a little bit pixelated. And I think that is just a result of this e-ink type technology. I don't know if that can be helped, but they do look quite pixelated. They don't look like actual pen, but that's being quite picky, and you can still read all your notes, you can see all your highlights, so it's probably not that big a deal. One of the main reasons that I thought I'd give the ReMarkable a go was due to the handwriting to text feature. What I wanted to be able to do was to write notes on journal articles and books I'm reading, and then convert that text to computer-generated text, and then be able to take quotes or other information and put that into a word processor to help me plan and write my literature review or chapters in my thesis. And I was quite disappointed with the handwriting to text feature. It's okay, but there's a lot of incorrect words, and there's a lot of problems with its conversion. This may be because of my handwriting, but I have tried on an iPad with the Nebo app, and it was excellent. It even got some of the terms that I just didn't even think would be in a dictionary. So the handwriting to text really has a little way to go. The other thing that wasn't great about the handwriting to text component was that you have to send it to an email account. So you can't access it within the ReMarkable app. You have to export it on the ReMarkable device into text, and then you have to send it to someone. I don't really understand the point of that, because with the error rate as it is, you would have to edit that email significantly before you sent it to anyone anyway. So I just don't think they've really hit the mark on either the handwriting to text functionality or why people would want handwriting to text. I think most people would just write an email on their iPhone if they wanted to write a quick email. So yeah, that was a bit disappointing, but you know, I think there's other options there, especially on iPad Air. The other thing that's a bit disappointing about the handwriting to text functionality is that I'd really like to see the ability to search my notes for keywords. So I'd really like an option somewhere on this device where I can search my handwriting for keywords, because that would make this so much more valuable. I would be able to find anything I wanted to on the device. Overall, I think the ReMarkable is really nifty. I think that the tech behind it is really, really cool. And I think that the company's put an awful lot of thought into it. However, for my life and for my purposes, it's just not at a level which I think I will find it useful. I think it's got a lot of kinks that really need to be ironed out. But I think that the company is moving in that direction, and I would be interested to see this in 1 or 2 more generations to see how it's developed and to see whether they've ironed out those problems. So summing up, if you want handwriting to text, if you want to be able to zoom in and zoom out on pages, or if you want colored pens, then this device is definitely not going to be for you. If, however, you want to be able to have a really nice writing experience and you want your notes to be backed up on the cloud and then accessible on your computer, then this device is going to be absolutely great. You just really have to know what it is that you want before buying it and assess whether it's going to achieve that function. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you'd like to check out some of my other videos, please do. Also, if you'd like more content from me, feel free to hit subscribe. And also, just in the comments, let me know about what you think about the ReMarkable. You know, did you buy it? Do you like it? Have you tried it in comparison with any other note-taking devices? I'd really be interested to hear your opinion. And other than that, I will see you next video.